Nobody can tell me that God is not patient. 'Cause girl, with you, he took his time. They cannot convince me.
Welcome to Shattering Limitations, where we don't stop until it happens, keep going when it does. This your girl, Fiera Ayana, and I'm finally back with another episode. I apologize for the long wait. I was in the midst of doing a lot of things, and I finally got to the point to where I could just settle down and do this. And if you know me, then you know I'm always doing something. But yeah, so I just want to start off by saying I had no plan today to create an episode, but it's I was just sitting down on my iPad and I was just thinking, and a voice just came to me, and it was just Fiera, that podcast, and you know exactly what you need to speak on. And it's I feel like it was a reason why the enemy didn't want me to speak on this, or it was a reason why it was being delayed so much. And once I thought about it like that, I said, no, I'm getting them now. But today we're going to be talking about getting a closer bond with God, walking with God, and how to navigate that in a way. Because I feel like starting your walk with God is different from everybody. Some people start from an experience. Some people start because they were surrounded by it. It's just so many different ways of how people get started. But honestly, speaking from my personal experience, this is an amazing walk, but it's not for the weak. I'm going to let you know right now. It's an amazing walk, but it's not for the weak. And it's just my walk with God really brought me a long way to where I was before. Because before I actually started taking God serious, I grew up in a church, grandparents being the pastor and bishop and everything. I grew up with that whole life. So, you can be in a church, you can be around people that go to the church, or you could be within a religious family and still not have a relationship with God. So it was yes, I was going to church, yes, I was doing everything, but did I have a personal relationship with God at the time? No, I didn't. So it's I had to find God for myself. You can have people to help you get there, but you really have to find him for yourself. That's what I had to do. And it's before I got on this walk with him, the enemy could attack me every way possible. When I tell y'all I came so far, mentally, if something could have been going wrong in my life, I'd probably accept it and just let it. It got to a point to where it just felt oh, maybe I'm not enough for God, or da-da-da this, da-da that. It was just stuff like that. And it's I knew what I was going through is not what God had for me or was the end of our story. I knew that was nothing but the enemy filling my head. And it's that's what today, I'm telling myself, every time something go wrong, it's I don't even react the same way that I used to. Because it's now, since I don't walk with God all this way, I don't build a relationship to understand how he works. He would never forsaken me or anything. Even earlier today, I was just thinking about some things and I was starting to get overwhelmed. But I was thinking, I was Fiera, you already know who God is, man. You already know who God is. You ain't about to go out all kind of way. You know who God is. God gonna pull through for you. So why is you worrying right now? And that was my biggest problem. I always worry about every little thing. And when I used to worry about things, it used to be 10 times worse than what it actually is. And I knew that was nothing but the enemy just trying to fill my head and stop me. Because sometimes the enemy know what God has planned for you. The enemy know what's about to happen for you. And he would do anything to stop that from happening. And the number one way that the enemy attacks you is through your head. So enemy had a strong hold on me. But once I got to know who God is and how God works, it's everything changed. And it's and I be trying to help other people too, because it's I once been in that position. I understand And I know like people be like, oh yeah, I understand, I've been up, but y'all, if you know I understand. Like, I'm trying to tell people I understand, like, God has a plan for everything. And that's another thing that I had to stop doing. I had to stop putting myself in a position where I'm another person healer. That I always took on that job. And maybe I went through those situations because I was trying to do the job of God. Like, how can I do his own job? And you know, that's what one thing I had to stop myself from doing. Like, every time I try to heal somebody else before, you know, putting me first or respecting myself, respecting myself, I used to always try to heal people just to get broken down. And that's something that I really had to stop doing. I really had to sit and listen to God. Oh, you thought you could do what I could do? Like, I'm like, but he came through. Like, sometimes we have to go through situations in order to gain wisdom out of it. Like, I know I be saying like a lot, but yeah, it's just been a long walk, like such a long walk. And I understand that sometimes he put us through situations to teach us something. And maybe after we learn our own lesson, our job is to tell another person. Or maybe it's just for us to carry along for the rest of our lives, you know, help us go through the next step. Because sometimes when we go through things, what I want to say is, if we go through nothing, how will we know anything? If we go through nothing, how will we know anything? And like, I really had to understand that with God, because y'all, he's so amazing. But thinking back on all the things that he has blessed me with and how far I've come, it's like I look back at everything that I've been through and I look at it with no regrets. Because if I didn't go through what I have gone through, or if I didn't make the decisions I have made, I would not be anywhere near I am today. And like, maybe I'm still not in a position where he wants me to be, you know? Like, I really had to stop. And another thing was I had to stop running from him also. That was my biggest thing. Like, I knew God. I used to be out like, yeah, I love God. Y'all know I don't play by God, all kind of stuff. You can say that all day long, but it's different when it's just you and him. Like, you could say that to other people all day long. You could convince them easily, but one person you can't convince is God. And it's like, I really had to stop. Although I was like sharing him and, you know, telling other people about him and all type of things, personally, I was still running away from him. And it's like, he sent multiple people to me to tell me my own calling. And it's like, sometimes I still catch myself from running away, because it's like, oh Lord, okay, you showed me this in a dream. You sent this person to tell me the exact thing that you showed in the dream. You sent a person to my mother that has no idea of who I am, just know of me, of what you showed me in my dream. And it's like, I know this is what you want me to do, but I just always question, like, how do I navigate this, Lord? Where do I find the support? Where do I start? Where do I begin? But it's like, he already showed me the vision, so it's really up to me to get there. And I can't, and I feel like that's a part of him testing my faith. He's like, I showed you what I have for you. I show you what I want you to do. You don't got the vision. So how you got to figure out how you're going to get there yourself. And that's one thing I had to figure out for myself. Like, I'm probably still running just a little bit, because I be scared, but I have to understand that fear is of the enemy. And like, that's one thing I'm learning to get rid of right now. Like, I'm not perfect, so it's like I'm still learning along the way. But it's like, fear is the biggest thing that made me want to question God. And that's how I knew it was of the enemy, because why would I question God when he already showed me what he had planned? He already showed me what was destined for me. So it's like, I'm still working to get rid of, like, I feel like the fear I had before is not as bad as where I'm at now. But it's like, I could understand that it's still some fear left. I always wake up every day and be like, Lord, I don't know what journey you have for me, but I know I'm gonna try to get to the destination somehow. That's all I know. I don't know how to begin the journey, where to go in the journey, which path to take within the journey, but I know I'm gonna have to get to the destination. And I said, Lord, can't see what I'm doing right now, but I know eventually that I'm gonna get there. I know eventually that I'm gonna get there, because I know every time that I try to run away from my calling, it's like God grabbed me by my shirt and dragged me back. Like, it's like I can't run away from it. And I feel like God has a purpose for every single body. And it's like, if you find yourself going through the same situations over and over and over, that's God trying to tell you something. Because if he done gave you a lesson the first time and you still didn't listen or got where he was going, do you think that he's just gonna upgrade you to the next level? No, he wants you to learn that lesson for a reason. So sometimes we can't turn our backs from what he already brought us out of. Cause like, we could pray to him so bad, but let me tell you now, nobody knows you better than God. So maybe he know that you're gonna do that again. But I'm just saying, like, we be praying so bad to get out of situations just to end up going back to them situations. Like, and I just feel like I used to be that same type of person. Like, a few years back, I used to be that same type of person, but I had to stop, because it's like, now it just seems like I'm making a fool of God. Like, I can't do that to him. Like, I don't pray my way. I don't cried, prayed, slide on a wall, every type of thing that you could call for God to pull me out of this. And I went back, and when I went back, it was even worse. So it's like, I had to stop treating God like he was nothing. Like, I just had to stop treating God like, oh, he just did me a favor, he gonna give me another favor. And I had to stop looking at it like that. Yes, God would do anything for us, but it comes a time where we have to understand exactly what he is doing. So it's like, if you don't learn your lesson the first time, you gonna keep going through that. Like, you really gonna keep going through that. And that's just one thing I had to realize for myself along this walk. And it's like, a lot of people, when they start walking with God, because I'm gonna let you know this now. Some people, they go on social media, they look at how people share their walk with God, and how, it's such a beautiful thing. And it is beautiful, because my walk is still beautiful. But they fail to realize, like, once you start this walk, oh, baby, you're going through some stages, man. You're going through some stages. It's going to be good times. It's going to be times where you like, ain't no way. Like, it's just, y'all, I done been through almost every stage. And I'm probably still going through the stages. But it's like, I'm learning and I'm understanding what he's trying to do. Because he's trying to build you. He's trying to build you up for what is meant for you. Because if you were to go to because I still don't think I still don't think I'm in a position where he wants me to be. Like, if I were to place my version right now into the vision that he has showed me, I would not be ready. I promise you, I would not be ready. And that's why I say, like, I'm learning along the way with this walk. I'm understanding that everything is for a reason. Like this. And this is another thing. I also had to start looking at other people, because I'd be like, God, now the vision you showed me, they living out that exact vision, and they got there faster than me, but they not work. They didn't. I don't see them working as hard as me or worked as hard as me. So it's like, I used to take my eyes off my own path and look to the path beside me and seeing how far they come. But this one thing that I would say, the slow turtle wins the race. So I had to stop looking at other people and focus on myself, because I know what God has for me is something permanent. I know what he has for me is going to make a big change. And I firmly believe that, like, because the visions, the dreams, everything that I receive from him, y'all, it's just too deep to not even sit down and just think about, So it's like, with this walk, he talks to people in different ways. So like, once you start running a relationship with him, he gonna talk to you in a way in which you could hear him. But yeah, man, it's just thinking about it, y'all. I've been through some stuff, but this walk is something that I don't regret, and something that I will continue. And like, I understand some people feel as though, oh, I don't go to church, so how would God ever listen to me or see what I have to say if I can't go to his own temple. Personally, I want to say, me growing up in the church, still going to church, and forever will go to a church, I feel like you can still be in a church and still not have a relationship with him. Like, a lot of people sit in churches and still don't have a relationship with him. So I feel like if you feel as though you really genuinely want to bond with the Lord, try to get that bond with him first. And I promise you, he gonna lead you to the exact place that he sees fit for you. I firmly believe that. Like, he works in mysterious ways, y'all. Like, God is so good. But like, with this walk, the book that stood out to me the most was Job. Cause man, he went through a lot. And like, in my life, I compare it to my life. Like, I went through so much. And it's like, I remember times where I saw no sunny days. Like, it was a point where I didn't know when the sun would shine. Like, I just wanted to give up. Like, that's all I wanted to do was give up. Like, I was hearing other people, they're encouraging and all kind of stuff, because I was always the person, and I'm still am the person that always lift everybody up. Like, I never want nobody to feel what I feel or feel what I felt. Like, I always lift everybody up, because I can't stand to see me on another person, if that makes any sense. Like, I just can't stand to see that. And it's like, I just couldn't think, man. I'm getting a little blocked, but I'm gonna rebuke that in the name of Jesus. But yeah, so it's like, I just can't stand to see the pain that I'm going through on another person. So it's like, I've been helping everybody, and like, when it came to me needing the help, I didn't know how to take it in. I didn't know how to accept it or hear it or anything. Like, I wasn't trying to hear any of that. Now, I would say I still believed in God no matter what, but it's like, he was quiet. He was quiet, y'all. He was quiet. And that's when I had to stop and realize, was he quiet, or was I actually listening? Because it's like, this was around the time when I was talking about earlier about going, when he brought me out of the situation, I went back. This was around that time. I'm like, God not hearing, God not hearing. But it's like, he done put me through that whole lesson, and I went back. So like, what do I expect? I had to open my own eyes. I was like, if I want better for myself, I have to listen. I have to obey. Like, I just can't keep living the worldly life that I was living. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would just, and I understand that we have, cause one thing, he gonna let us have our free will. He gonna let us have our free will now. He ain't about to stop you from having your free will. Like, you free to do as you please. But it's up to you to know if you want to obey or not. And it's like, I had to stop and realize, like, no, why am I upset at God for doing his job? Like, he done showed me the way out. Yo, God probably had the door open with light shining through. They said, and probably had a sign right here and say, exit. And you know what I'm gonna do? Turn around and go to the closed door. So yeah, I was that type of person. And like, I don't want to call myself dumb or call myself all sorts of names, but it was just like, I really had to stop and understand the way that God works. Like, and though, like, even if you read the word, like, the more you read the word, the more you understand how he'll communicate with you. And it's like, once I started reading, understanding how he communicates, it's like it became clear to me in like the daily life, because it was like, dang, nah, this not of God. And it's just like, all my decisions to start changing. And like, I'm not even gonna cap to y'all, I am not perfect. I am not perfect. Like, I'm speaking and stuff, people might be like, oh, how can you speak that? I am not perfect. Like, I'm still trying to get right with God. Like, I feel like I'm in a better position than I was before, but it's like, I'm still not where I want to be. A lot of people might look at me and be like, oh, I'm trying to get like Fier. Like, no, don't try to get like me, because I'm still not where I personally want to be. Like, I want to be in a place with God where the light just shines off me. Like, that's the place. Like, I don't want to say where I don't make any mistakes, because that's kind of impossible. Like we're human, we gonna be bound to make mistakes and stuff. But it's like I want to be in a position where I completely understand right from wrong, where I completely understand how to obey and not disobey. Like it's just simple stuff like that. And it's like with this walk, that's all I've been learning so far. I'm still not where I want to be with him, but it's like I'm not gonna stop until I get there. Like I'm not giving up. And it's like you just really have to have that relationship with him. And he's gonna be patient with you too. As long as he sees you trying, he's gonna be patient with you. And I tell God every morning, I be like, Lord, I'm trying. Let me know something. If it's something that you need me to do, let me know. And that's when I came into the season of surrendering. And I'm currently in a season of surrendering. Like, Lord, I surrender. And those the only two words I can say. Lord, I surrender, because I don't want to continue doing things in my own will. I want to do things in the will of God. Like that is my number one goal, to do things in his will and not in the will of my own. Because I know if I leave it up to my own hands, Lord knows where I'll be. Like, so it's like I surrender. And I understand the first time, like a few months ago, when I told God I surrender, I had to make sacrifices. I had to take some losses, but I had to gain an understanding that those losses is for a reason. And it's not really a loss. I feel like nothing is really a loss as long as you got God on your side. Nothing is a loss as long as you got God on your side, because what God can do for you, another person cannot. And that's one thing I know for sure. So it's like I had to make sacrifices. I had to leave some people behind. I had to separate myself. I had to try to give up some of my old ways. Like, it's just like so many changes that I made to myself, because I am so determined to continue this walk with God, because I know the way that he using me now is up for something greater. And that's something that I do not want to give up anytime soon. And I won't give it up, because he blessed me with so much. And it's just like, sometimes I think like, dang God, do I really deserve this? Like, you blessed me with this. Do I really deserve it? And then sometimes I be like, okay, God, okay, now is this a catch? Like, is you what you finna do? Like, is this a catch? What lesson I gotta learn next? What is like, no, like when you really take God seriously, like he will really look out for you. Like, and a part of my calling was him telling me to use my voice, and I always felt bad about using my voice. And let me tell you why. Because when I was younger, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. So it's like I couldn't talk, or at least I thought I couldn't. Because like when I was younger, kids used to tell me, oh, Fia, you can't pronounce this, da da da. And all type of stuff like, oh, you can't talk, da da da. And my mama tried to put me in speech and go on that whole line, but they kicked me out because I had insurance. I never understood that. But so it's like I never got the help to correct my speech or how to pronounce certain things, because it's like I would know how to pronounce it, but it would come out so much differently. And it's like I got better with it, but it's like I still struggle with it. And that's always what held me back from using my voice. And it was like I didn't want to speak at events, I didn't want to speak at nothing. But it's like when God showed me that a part of my purpose was to use my voice, I ain't gonna lie, I sat down and looked at it. I'm like, what you mean? Like, what you mean? And I was like, I've been told my whole life that I couldn't talk, or I always had some insecurity of me not sounding like others, or there was always a defect in how the way I spoke. And I was like, God, what you mean? A part of my my calling is a part of my voice. Like, what I can't. I was like, no, I passed up on it. Like I ran from it so long until it's like it was building up in me. It was like, you gotta speak. And like getting on here today, it's like I had no plan of doing this, but I was just sitting on the couch and God was like, get up. Because it was like, there's so many other people in your position right now that trying to navigate how to get closer with me, don't know how to get close with me, and they feel as though they are not good enough or put in a good position to get closer with me. So it's like God told me to use my voice to like tell y'all like it's okay. Like if you read the Bible, you will know so many of them did so many things, but God used them for the better. God would take the person that you least expected and use them for the better. Like that's why I always tell people like you can't judge nobody for nothing. You can't point fingers at nobody for nothing, because I promise you, God will take that same person you judging and pointing at and put them in a higher position than you. Like, cause God, man, God is amazing, man. But he will use the people that you least expect, the people that you judge every single day. He would use them for the better. Like he would turn their whole life around. He would do them a whole 360, and you would never expect it because it's not for you to expect. That's why he expects us to love our brothers and sisters like he loved us. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I always be telling people, like, you can't judge nobody for doing nothing. Like you could talk to them, like give them encouragement, but make sure there's no judgment behind it. Like spread love always, even if they don't take what you're saying too hard, or if they don't take what you're saying in account or anything. Like still spread love. That don't mean that you treat them different. Just because another person is different from you, that don't mean you treat them differently. You supposed to spread love to them. And that's one thing I had to tell other people, because me, I always been a lover. Like I always been a type that dislike that when people treat other people all kind of way. And I knew it was a purpose for that, because I knew, like, even growing up, I knew my heart was different. I knew I stood out for a bunch of people, because it's like, even today, like, people with different personalities, they I don't see how to do it, and I be like, yo, that's not in me. That's not in my heart. And I be saying that because I know the kind of person that God created me to be. God created me to be different, and I had to get that in my head. I'm different to stand out, not to fit in. And that was one thing that I struggle with. I always try to fit in, but when God want to use you, he gonna separate you from all of that. He don't want you to be a part of none of that. Like, you will be different. I have to understand. I be trying to, like, convince people, like, hey, you don't have to do that. Like, just because you see them doing that, you don't have to do that. But it's like, people gonna do what they want to do anyway. But it's like, as long as I did my part of letting them know, I know I could be satisfied. I know God's satisfied of me. So it's like, that's one thing that I knew God had something great for me, because it's like my heart. And I also had to stop myself, because it was a point of time, I'm not gonna lie, it was a point of time in my life where I tried to fit in so much, and I tried to do things that other people was doing. But I look at all those people got away with that. But once I did what they did, it all falls down on me. And I'm like, dang, I was just, but God was like, I ain't created you to be like that. That wasn't my plan for you. That's not a part of your calling. So it's like, I had to stop and realize that I cannot do the same exact things that other people do. Like, I have to stay in my own lane, focus on my own path that he has for me. Because once I found myself started trying to do things other people doing, my whole life started falling apart. Like, I had to separate myself. I had to understand God for myself. I had to keep talking to God to understand who I even am. And it's like, I asked God, I said, God, reveal to me how you see me. And he showed me in a vision. And when I woke up that next morning, I said, ain't no way. Ain't no way. I was like, and that was the exact moment when I started making sacrifices, making changes to myself. Because I was like, I can't live like this no more. Like, I can't. No, that's not. And he showed me in the vision, he showed me the consequences of what would happen if I didn't correct certain ways. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, along this walk, he taught me things. He showed me them. And I would say, sometimes he'll give you the clear answer of where he wants things to be. Sometimes he wants you to learn something in order to get there. And he's like, I'm accepting everything for what it is. But one thing I would say, I will never regret this walk. And I encourage everybody out there to understand, like, you are never in a predicament where God don't want to hear from you. never think that, like, there's never a time where God don't want to hear from you. I don't care if you did something like bad. Like, if you want to turn your life around and get closer with him, do it. Don't let nobody stop you from doing it. Don't let the enemy get in your head. Any voice that comes to you to try to convince you of why you should not talk to God, don't listen to that voice. Because I promise you, that ain't nothing but the enemy trying to stop you. Like, God, he don't look at you to be perfect. He made nobody perfect. Any position that you in, God wants you to come to him. I promise you he do. So it's like, if you want to start your walk, even after seeing this, if you want to start your walk, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And everybody could start from a different thing. I personally, I started from a lot of experiences and witnesses things by eye. Like, but you can start today. Like, you can start from anywhere that you feel comfortable starting with. And like, along this walk, never let nobody tell you how you should walk with God or how you should communicate with him, because he will communicate with you in a way he know that you will hear him. So that's all I want to say for this episode, and I hope y'all have a blessed day. And for those who feel as though they need more help, like navigating with starting God, my DMs are open. My messages are always open, So, yeah, hope y'all have a blessed day.
He's not omnipresent, 'cause through your face I see his light.